Well, as Gloria reminded me, we were having a wonderful time in Texas, and I got the privilege of traveling around with the missionaries, the Zhangs, they're from South Korea, but they are missionaries in the Philippines. And they asked me a question as we were getting to know each other. They wanted to know if people in different parts of the United States could understand one another when we speak. And because in the Philippines there are over 20 dialects, and so they sometimes have problems with people living in the same country not knowing how to understand one another. And I said, yeah, sometimes somebody from the south might say to somebody from the north, could you say that again or whatever? But then I got up, and the first time we spoke in a place together, I told the audience I was tickled to death to be there. And that was like mind-blowing to them, tickled to death. It didn't make any sense. But all those Texans knew exactly what I meant, and I hope y'all know that I'm tickled to death to be here with you today. So thank you for this invitation. And our theme for our denomination this year is tell your story. This is my story. And so I'm really thrilled this morning to come and talk about the story of the people of Haiti. I want to remind everybody, everywhere I go, that it is the legacy of the Cumberland Presbyterian Church to send women in mission to places that you might not expect them to go. This is one of our early missionaries from 1880, a Julia Leavitt, who went to Japan as a young single woman and opened doors. And I got to meet people from Japan last week at General Assembly who are just faithfully spreading the good news there. But I want to share kind of the story of me getting to Haiti a little bit. This is what I used to think it meant to be a missionary when I was a young person. Here I come to save the day. And my idea of being a missionary is, missionaries bring they bring God into the dark places, and all this. And after living a while and learning who God is and going to seminary and understanding things better, I realize that there is not a place on this planet, in this universe, that God is not already there at work. We're not bringing God anywhere. God is there. And what missionaries do, it looks more like this. It means coming alongside God and being God's servant, being God's partner, coming alongside the people and being their servant and their partners, and just seeing what God is delighted to do there as we surrender and partner. And so mission work can look like doing whatever it takes to get where you need to get and do what you need to do. But it also looks like taking what you already know, surrendering it to God, and seeing how God wants to use it in new ways. So where is Haiti? So in case you're not aware, I don't think I knew very clearly 2 years ago, but there's Florida up in the left-hand corner, and then, hop, skip, and a jump to Cuba, and then over to that island in the middle of the map there is Haiti. It shares the island with Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic was a Spanish colony, and Haiti was a French colony. So it's interesting to look at this satellite photo. I don't know if you can tell in this light, but the Dominican Republican side of the island is green and lush, and the Haitian side of the island is brown. And the reason for that is when the people of Haiti finally gained their independence from France, just as they became free, they also became indebted to France. France demanded reparations for their lost property, meaning the people of Haiti. So immediately they were poor as they became free, and they are still the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. This is how you get to where I'm going in Haiti. Mission Aviation Fellowship, little 6-seater airplane, and whatever 850 pounds of luggage that 6 people can take, plus your weight. You got to get weighed in. That's an embarrassing moment. And then you land on this grass field that the pastors have come a little early and cleared off the baby goats and the cows and the chickens. And you land there, and then a truck comes and gets you, and you drive on the roads of Haiti and get out to the country, and it's beautiful. This is Dufour, and the people there say Dufu. And there are 6 Cumberland Presbyterian churches in Haiti, and there were 6 young men who were in a leadership program. They were feeling called to minister. And in this program, they were challenged to find a place in Haiti where there was nowhere for people to go to church. And so they all chose these places out in the country and planted churches. And they immediately started looking around and saying, how can we bring the good news here to these people who have not had a place to worship? And so this is 2 of the ways. Joab and Junia there in Dufour have used these methods to bring the good news. School and goats, cabrit in Creole. And so all of the churches that were built there in Haiti have schools built now, and there were no schools for children to go to in these communities before the Cumberland Presbyterian Church came in. So these kids' parents don't know how to read and write for the most part. Their grandparents can't even sign their names. And the goats, so Junia, the pastor's wife, heard about chickensandgoats.com, and she wondered if it was something they could do to bless people there. So some Cumberland Presbyterians raised money and brought goats to Dufour, and she picked 10 women to receive the first goats. And the goats, when they have kids, it's usually 2 or 3, and they could keep one, and then they had to give one away to some other woman who agreed that she could keep one and give one away. And so these goats are all over Dufour now. And one of the other churches did the same thing with pigs, although I don't think they wander around the community like these goats do. Cumberland Presbyterians came on short-term trips and brought furniture and painted and built furniture and made the school just a beautiful, inviting place for these children who had no school to go to before. That is good news in these communities. And as the children got older, the furniture got bigger, and they outgrew their school and they had to build other buildings. This is Pastor Smith in Lexi. He has a church on the top of a mountain. They do have a well at the foot of the mountain, and they pump water up to the community around his church. That's his little boy, Smitty, and he has another little boy, Ab Smith. So there's kind of a pattern there you can see. But the pastors, this is their 2-story worship space there in Lexi. And we were there having a meeting in the upper balcony, and the little kids are having their preschool class. You start school at age 3 in Haiti. And they were singing their little songs, and I knew the tune, although the words weren't that familiar yet. And it was just reverberating in those acoustics, and just such a blessing. And the pastors all feel that their churches are to honor God, and so they put everything they can into these churches. But their school, some of the school buildings might not stand very well in a hurricane, and they worry a little bit, but this school is pole and tin, and Pastor Smith is raising funds right now to try to build a cinder block school. He has, through the help of some Cumberland Presbyterians here in America, built a computer lab for his school. He is the pastor so far that has added a middle school, because once you do that, you have to hire specialized teachers for each class, like algebra, Spanish. They have to have a specialized teacher to do those things. And they built a computer lab knowing that the young people in Haiti need to be able to do these techno jobs, just like young people in America. You would be amazed what people in Haiti can do with your old cell phone. They have 3G cell. People are shocked to hear that. And now that they can see what goes on in the world around them, I think they're beginning to understand the disparity between Haiti and the rest of the world. But if you have an old cell phone, think about sending it with us to Haiti. Pastor Sheshler and his little girls in Nanaku, and that's their school building in the background. But their church where they were building was a pole building with tin. There it is. And again, even though that's the building, the pastor is proud, and they just honor God with everything that they do. However, they just a few weeks ago broke ground. Some Cumberland Presbyterians all around the world are raising money. Builders Fellowship is making some funds available for them to build a solid building. And that is the most recent picture of the site they're preparing all by hand. Can you imagine if you took on a building project and it had to all happen by hand? Look at the pile of dirt next to that foundation that they're building. Pastor Eddie in Saint-Jules And this picture kind of demonstrates the stature of the people in Haiti. I'm 5'3", and I feel like I look like a giant in that picture. But his little twin boys, his wife and daughter, their church, they had to chisel out the side of a mountain to build their church. And you can see in this picture that the building is right up against what we would call a bluff. And again, just he's putting his sanctuary on display there, and this is their little preschool building that's connected to it. Evetuel and Marché Cabrit, that means goat market. His family, they live out by the coast, and this is his sanctuary. And again, just like all the other pastors, they brought water to their community, and that was a pretty big feat there in Marché Cabrit. Even though you can see the ocean from the front porch of their church, it's very dry, and actual drinkable water is in short supply there. So they dug this well, and I have seen the video of them digging this well. Anybody want to venture how deep they had to go to get to water? And they're digging it by hand, 147 feet. So there's a man down in a hole this big, sending out one bucket at a time. And there's a man at the top pulling it up. He doesn't even have a crank. He's pulling up a bucket at a time. And in the video, it shows when they bring that first muddy bucket up. And it's like a Super Bowl touchdown. Ah! And the whole time I was there visiting, there was just a stream of people coming to this well to get water. And he has a cistern that this area around that looks so brown and dry, that's the church garden. And all the pastors have church gardens. He is trying to save money for a PVC pipe to make an irrigation system because they have the effects of climate change and so dry until they get to the rainy season, and then it's been so dry that it just floods. Pastor Kimson, I think his church is the hardest to get to. It's up a mountain about this steep. Smith's is about like this. Kempson's is about like this to get to. Gris-gris, it means gray, and I think that just speaks to all the rocks around them. That's their church garden, if you can imagine gardening on that incline. But he's pointing to a sign that says Joyeux Neuf Anniversaire, which means happy 9th anniversary. All the churches are about that same age. They're coming up on 10 years old now this year. This is his school, and he just received a blessing of someone to help them. He's been waiting over a year to be able to put a roof on the last part of the building, because there's no air conditioning, no fans. It's about 110 degrees on the average in spring, summer, fall. But the kids don't have any of that, but they have to have shade when they're in school. So he just sent me this picture of their recent commencement, because that's probably as high as these kids are going to be able to go in school, because there's nothing else for them to go to anywhere around. So what is ministry like in Haiti? It's the model of the pastors is to look and see how can we bring the good news of the gospel to the people here. And so this is a CPW meeting there in Dufour, and I like to point out the little lady in the very middle of the picture in the pink. She has dwarfism, so she has to walk with a crutch. And in Dufour and in all the churches, they have church about 6 o'clock in the morning. So can you imagine if you announced you were going to have church at 6 o'clock in the morning? But it's because it gets so hot inside the building as the day goes on. So these ladies start out walking from their homes in the dark to get to church. And when I think of this story, I think about at my church, if the thermostat is 2 degrees higher or lower, and who can't decide? Somebody's cold, somebody's hot, and like, oh, and I don't like this song, it's too slow. And I think of these ladies, and especially this lady on the crutch, starting out in the dark to get to church. It's just a common picture of the devotion that people have, and just their desire to be there in worship, and their worship is so joyful. They are living in the harshest conditions you can imagine, but their worship services are so joyful. These are some kids. How they do ministry is not only school, but on Saturdays they have kids club. I can tell because the kids aren't wearing their uniforms that it's a Saturday morning, and they're just running around having fun like kids love to do. This is another way some of the pastors thought to bless the people in the community. There was no school for the people this age, and so they asked us to bring some sewing machines. So some Cumberland Presbyterian people donated these sewing machines that you see in the foreground, and they hired a teacher. And he came, and he's got 10 women and 2 men in this sewing class. And it's not just they've got a Buttrick pattern or a McCall's pattern, they're cutting it out and sewing it together. They've got to make the pattern. And so they're learning just the fundamentals of sewing. But they sent a picture from a recent Sunday. They all wore their new outfits to church and celebrated. That was such a big success and such a blessing. They said, what else can we do? So Angelo is a recent graduate of an electrical engineering program, and they hired him to come and teach a wiring class. And so 10 men and 2 women were in this class where they learned how to do wiring. So there's hardly any employment in the area, but when building projects come along, if the people have a skill that they can offer like that, they can earn money for their families, just like the ladies now can sew kids' uniforms, things like that. This is transportation in Haiti. It's mostly by foot. And so this is a child gone to fetch water, and they do that at least 2 times a day. The fact that the pastors all brought water to the communities meant that the children could spend much less of their time going to the river where there's a cow upstream and somebody washing their motorcycle upstream, and they're collecting that water to take home and drink it. Now they have well water in almost all of the churches, and so the children come and do that twice a day. And this is Tap Tap. So this is the main way to get around if you can afford it. If you need to go to market, it's going to be you and probably 3 or 4 other people on a motorcycle, maybe 3 people and a goat in the middle, maybe 3 people and a guy with a stick and some goats hanging in bags down to the side. But you can imagine every time you go to market, you're kind of taking your life in your hands. But that's Tap Tap. And then Pastor Joab has outfitted this truck with some adaptations. This will be one of the things that the money that people donate for my setup will go to me having a vehicle that I can get around safely in. The gas stations in Haiti are pretty interesting. It's a table about that size or smaller on the side of the road with 4 wine bottles on it, and there's gas in those wine bottles with some bugs and some dirt. And you put that in your vehicle, and sometimes you get stranded on the side of the road. So for me to find a good 4-wheel drive vehicle will be important. So that's what some of the setup funds are going to. You do walk to church, but you hope to get a ride home on the church bus. So there's a picture of that. The last time I was in Haiti, I did get a driving lesson. I don't know if you can tell how white my knuckles are in that picture, but it's I have some video, and Pastor Joab is coaching me along. And when you come home from Gree, down that incline, there are places where you're looking ahead and there's no road visible because it's so steep. And you've got a pastor who's been there before over here saying, just keep going forward, just keep going forward. And it's like the Holy Spirit, just keep going forward, have faith, there's a road there, just keep going forward. So finding my way around will be one of the first things that I need to work on when I get there. Healthcare in Haiti. So in Haiti, that's the ambulance corps, the motorcycles. I never saw that ambulance actually move from that spot, so it is hard to get enough gas for a larger vehicle, and one reason why motorcycles are so popular. But in Haiti, to receive health care, you have to have money in your hands to give to the doctor before they will touch you. And so a lot of people go to traditional practitioners called leaf doctors, and they are also voodoo practitioners. So you can see why the church would want to discourage people needing to rely on that. And so I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse since 1989. And when I got the call, felt the calling to go to Haiti, I felt the calling to finish off my master's degree with a nurse practitioner certification. So I've got 6 weeks left, and I'll be a nurse practitioner, so you guys can pray for that. But they knew I was a nurse, and there's some really amazing stories I could tell you about how God confirmed to me that he was calling me to Haiti through my medical knowledge as well as my desire to minister to people. And so Joe Abanjunia in Dufour sent me this picture one time after one of the trips and said, "What do you think of this?" And I'm like, "What is it?" Well, it's the blueprints for a clinic that they want to build. And so this dream caught fire, and some Cumberland Presbyterians are helping them raise money to build this clinic. And I got to be there on the last trip. They had just broken ground, digging it all by hand. They were digging the foundation here. And I got to see pictures. They send me pictures every few weeks of the progress. Now, I just got this picture a few weeks ago, and they've added a second story, and they're making the roof flat so that they can add another story as it grows. But now they dream of it being a hospital. And if you think about it, in this country, it was the churches that started all the hospitals in this country. So in the meantime, there's this young woman, Ciliana, who's just amazing. My little sister, she calls me Big Sis. She, through the help of Cumberland Presbyterian people, has been able to get 3 years of nursing school accomplished, and it's taken her longer than that. I got to meet her grandpa on the last trip, and he's just typical Haitian. He turned 100 years old this year, and we found him out in the field taking a nap under a tree where he'd been out working in the field, and he's blind. But in Haiti, you do whatever you have to do to get by. And so she sent me this picture just a few weeks ago. They've just had their capping ceremony, so that means that's a big milestone after you've finished 3 years and you're ready to wear your cap proudly in your clinicals. It's her dream to staff the clinic, and my dream to mentor her to do that. In the meantime, I'm learning Creole, as Gloria kind of mentioned. Map étudie Creole chaque jour. I am studying Creole every day. And Zanmi, moi, my friends, c'est avec frère moi, my brothers and sisters. I work on it every day, and the people in Dufour laugh. So I want to kind of finish up here with just an invitation. As I've gone to Haiti and seen how the pastors there, how they spread the good news, how they look around their communities and say, how can we meet needs? How can we bring the light of the gospel, the good news? I feel like pastors in this country, and I've told everyone at MTS where we go to seminary, if you could have a laboratory, just like chemistry class, you read about chemicals being combined, but then you go to the lab and you actually do it. In seminary, you read a lot about how to be a pastor, but if you had a lab to go and learn how to really do it, in Haiti would be the lab to be a pastor. So the pastors there, we've told them, you guys are amazing. You have such faith. You dream the dreams God has for you to dream, and you step out in faith and just do it. And they want people to come and see. So some of them are building places for guests to come and stay and come and join in this work of the gospel. And so I want to leave you today and ask the question, well, I can't get my slide to go forward. Okay, I want all of us to ask the question, am I called? So I have a test, I've been doing it all over the country, that you can tell if you're called. And I want you all to take the test, okay? So hold up 2 fingers like this. Everybody do it, hold up 2 fingers. And then I put them right here. And if you've got a pulse, you are called. Okay, we read Matthew 28. The Great Commission is not just for people who are going to Haiti. It's for all of us, amen? And so you are called. But am I sent? Let me tell you, you are sent. We are all sent. God may be sending us to our neighbor across the street or to that woman in Walmart whose kids are crying to give her a word of encouragement, or to Haiti, but God is sending us all somewhere. So what can we do? Well, first we need to pray. So when you pray, pray for me and pray for Haiti and pray for my mom and dad. They get a little worried sometimes. Pray for Gloria. But pray. But when you pray, listen and ask God, Lord, I know that I am called. So where are you sending me? And listen to what God says. and don't be scared. And then come. I want to invite all of you to come and see the gospel in action in Haiti. And I'll be the one to come to the airport and welcome you and get you out there. But if you can't come, then send. Not everybody can come, but everybody can send. Maybe I'm supposed to linger there for a minute. And remember, I would say in the last 2 years when almost no missionaries could get into Haiti, and the CP Church hasn't been able to send very many people, I think it's 2, that the people of Haiti fear that their brothers and sisters and the rest of the church have forgotten them. And it feels that way, and it looks that way. To know that I'm being sent and that you are all doing it, that it's the church as a body that's making this happen, is restoring their hope. And so remember. And I just want to mention, I know Gloria has made you all aware of the Stott Wallace Missionary Offering, but that is how I get a truck to drive safely and how I get a salary every 3 months to buy my beans and rice and make them last for 3 months. And just be someone who's living like the people of Haiti, because when they see that, it brings them hope. So I have this little piece of technology here, or you can, I think there's a brochure in your bulletin, but you can just point your camera at that, and I'll leave it on that later after we're done with our worship service. You can take a picture of that. It'll take you right to the Stott Wallace site. Give everybody who's got their camera out a second. So I just want to leave you with some Creole. When you ask the people of Haiti a faith question, like, how are we going to do this? How are you going to build a hospital? How are you going to bring the gospel? How is this going to happen? Their answer is always, God knows. God knows. And it's not a Southern, God knows, eye roll included. It's a true statement of their faith. They have such faith. And I want you to see that when they say God's name, D, bon D, D as in deity, you know that root from that word, they say good God. So even though they live in some of the worst conditions you can imagine, every time they speak God's name, they are saying God is good. And they really believe that, and they really live that way. So when I go to Haiti, and I think, here I'm come to save the day, it's not that I am giving to them. I am receiving so much more, and the church has so more to receive from them than we have to give them. Because if we could live with this thanksgiving and this faith, can you imagine the Cumberland Presbyterian Church in America again? So this is, have a good day with God. Whenever they say farewell, they don't just say, have a good day. They say, have a good day in Jesus, or have a good day with God. So let me leave you with, Gagne bon Dieu, ak bon di. Have a good day with God. That's my prayer for all of you, and I appreciate you having me here today.